KNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real, and real talk is cold. Like the back of my neck is like, did you wanna put a scarf on? Like, it's cold. I'm not ready, but I'm ready. What's happening, Debo? How you doing this morning?
I'm just plain old tired, but I'm
Mm.
here, so I will not complain.
No, I thought you was about to sing it. Okay.
I've had some good days. I will. I bust out on you. Yeah, we here, man. That's the start right
I'm
there.
trying to see. One of those songs is not an easy song to sing. I won't complain. That's dang, which one of them? Because every time I hear them, they sing it at funerals a lot,
Yeah, I
and I'm
won't
like,
complain
that's a
would
hard
be one.
song to actually make it sound good.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's have you hold off on that. Did you hear that that one of the
See, that's
brothers
why
from
you
the
get
Tempters had passed?
Yeah, I did.
That just I was like, just not too long ago seeing that brother.
Right.
What's his name? Adrian? Is it Adrian?
No. His name is evading me right now. But he sang bass with the Tempters for many, many a year. He did some stuff on his own. He was kind of like Gina Jerner. He did. I think he did Brooke Benton or one of the old classic guys. What is his name? I know it. It evades me right now.
Okay, because I will. I had yesterday. Jermaine and I were talking about it, and he had pulled up his name because you know how you just see people, and
Right.
So anyway, I thought about that this morning. Let me say good morning to my man Carvey. What's happening, Carv? How you doing this morning? Carvey's doing well. He looks all expensive and luxurious in his hoodie. He got.
Good morning, Michelle. I'm doing well.
That's right. You see it. He got his glasses on. You understand. This is Carvey before 10.
Dude.
Don't hate on him. Don't hate on him. Carvey before 10 shows up well. After 10, y'all on your own.
I'm surprised I would be remiss if I didn't say
No,
that.
that's you. He doesn't say I would be remiss. That's your mess. Just to be clear. Good morning, Alex. How you doing this morning? Hey, Shelby. Good morning. Good morning. All right, y'all. So, what are we talking about today? I think that wait, before I do any of this, before I have a real conversation. So I got into a little tit-a-tat yesterday.
A little what?
A tit-a-tat.
Okay.
With some church folks yesterday. Somebody said I won't complain is easy. Maybe total praise. Yeah, total praise is kind of hard to sing. I've had some good days. Okay, it's okay. I'll think of it. It is. It's a song because anytime people get ready to sing at a funeral, I'll be sitting there like, don't do it.
Are you sure?
I'm like, I can't believe this song is escaping me. But every time they do, you hear they tee up the music. I'm like, don't do it, because everybody can't do it. But yeah, I had a little back and forth with some church folks yesterday. I was out.
How you have a back and forth with church folks?
Because, it
proves my point. You just be looking for a fight.
I don't look for fights. Let's be clear. People always want to talk. So we were talking. And I do know how we got on the subject, but it's a long, winding road to get you all to how we got on the subject. So I'm just going to say that we were talking about protocol and behavior at church. And I was saying that I had a moment in DC when I went to the Congressional Black Caucus. They do an annual gospel concert for congressional representatives. They do a annual concert. And they invite churches from their states to come perform. And, it almost becomes a battle. Somebody said, my soul is anchored in the Lord. That's hard. That's a good one. That's not it, but that's a good one too. That's a difficult song. So I said, I go to this concert every year. I look forward to it. And it almost becomes like a battle of the choirs from the respective states. And each congressional members like, y'all don't want none of this. Here go my choir. Bam, they knock it out. So we at this beautiful church, and I went live during that performance. It's on my Facebook page. But when I first, sat there were some sisters sitting in front of me, older sisters. And then in front of them, there was, because everything is full, church is full. So the choir got ready to, one of the choirs I think it was a choir from South Carolina. They got ready to sing. And immediately, this sister jumps up, sister next to her jumps up, and they ready for the song. And they stood up through the whole song. Mm-hmm. And, so at one point I'm like, what part about his people sitting behind y'all that y'all don't appreciate? Like, this is to me a very...
But that's church.
It may be church, but it's still selfish. Mm-hmm. Because it's people sitting behind you that maybe they didn't come.
That's what I tell you. You should have got here early.
It don't matter where you sit, because you could be on the second pew and get caught up. But I'm just like, everybody didn't come to stand up all day and stand up through the whole song. Like, I get you caught that little feeling and you need to rise. But there's people rise as soon as the little musicians start playing. And they stand they behind up. And I'm like,
that's my song. That's what they're doing. That's my song.
In any other realm outside of church, some of this is thoughtless, because you don't give no damn about the person sitting behind you.
I went to
and then you got your big hat on, and some of y'all be wide, and we can't see. Yeah. And I ain't come to stand through the whole. So I'm talking to these women, and they just was dying. They was like, Michelle, do not say that. Do not say that out loud. But look, somebody said, I'm short. I hear you on that. I'm just saying.
That's that Napoleon stuff.
Like, but for real though, because then you got to like kind of adjust your head, because you want to see the choir. You want to see Hattie sing her solo. You want to see, and you got to move and adjust. And these people, they just get up and hop their butt up and stand up all through the whole song. And because you praising Jesus, it's okay not to care about all the people behind you,
Michelle, I've seen
that can't see through you.
Security come and say, look, y'all got to sit down. And if I pay my money, you can't make me sit. Yeah.
Oh, I will.
I've seen it.
It goes, look, we went to go see Too Short. Me and Rep Myers and Homer had hooked us up. We had amazing seats. We was in the front row. Mm-hmm. On the, prime location. These seats cost hella money. Mm-hmm. All these people that paid $12.50 for their tickets, when the show started, they
ran down.
They flooded the aisles, mm-hmm. And then because it was nice room in between the first row of seats and the stage,
right? So
they all flooded that area, like they getting ready to party. And I'm like, no.
Jackie, I put her in the front row for the blues tour. Mm-hmm. And trust me, they kicked her drink over. Mm-mm. It was just terrible.
You ain't doing none of that to me. You ain't doing none of that to me.
Front row again.
I want to be clear.
Yeah.
When I tell you, it was like Moses had parted the sea, because people was like coming, like starting to stand in front of me. And I mean, you clearly in the front row. Mm-hmm. I said, hey, these seats cost too much money. You can't stand your $12.50 seat behind sitting in front of me. No, you got to move. And people was like, move, Negro. You can't stand in front of me. If you wanted to be down here, you needed to pay. When I tell you, I probably did that like 4 or 5 times. And then the security guy saw me too, and he was telling people like, y'all can't stand in front of them. Now, everybody else in the front row, people stood all in front of them, but it was a carve out for me and Keisha. And so it was some white boys sitting behind us at the concert, and they go tap me on my shoulder. They was like, oh my God.
Thank you.
We're so glad we
Who are you?
We're so glad we sat behind. Thank you so much.
Golly,
I mean, we was watching the show like we was at the house now, and we felt like getting up, but when I tell you, you're not about to stand in front of me, and security, I mean, Homer and them had me dying. The bros was on it. They was like, hey, y'all got to move. So it was just this little cutout. but everybody else in the front row, and it was bros with they, women and stuff sitting down there. And I was looking at them like, I wish you was here with me and got these people standing in front of me. Yeah. No, sir. And I said the same thing about church. And so the church ladies was like, Michelle, be quiet. So do not
do that in church. No. You're not gonna stand up.
I actually did tap the sister who stood up in front of the people in front of me. Mm-hmm. I walked up to her and I tapped her. I said, you got people behind you that's disabled and they can't see. Mm-hmm. And she got an attitude, but she sat down. You
didn't mess her spirit up.
Well, your spirit ought to think about other people. And so, here's a public service announcement for folks that be hopping up at church. Y'all ought to think about sometimes it's people sitting behind y'all that don't want to look at the back of y'all butt all day while you praising Jesus. It's selfish on some level. Get up, have your moment, and sit down. Don't stand through the whole song. And then you got people just sitting there looking at the back of your booty and not able to see nothing on the choir. So you can see.
It depends on how your booty looks.
You know what?
Could
Don't
be
start.
A
Don't
beautiful
start.
sight.
Well,
you just stand on right there. So, praise him. Yes, Lord. Thank you.
Why must y'all always
I'm just saying.
into something ridiculous?
Well, listen.
Well, I'm just saying.
Some beautiful
for y'all folks that love to pop up at the drop of a key on the keyboard because you think your song about to come on. Take a minute.
My soul has been anchored.
Good Christians, and think about the fact that it's people sitting behind y'all.
Look who's calling.
Who is calling? Hey, caller, what's happening?
Well, this is the good Dr. Reverend Rideout calling.
Look who's calling.
I'm like,
my soul has been anchored.
The good doctor.
Hey, man, I got the offering hat out already.
In my early morning getting ready for the gym, I overheard a conversation about people standing up in the house of the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Preacher.
I can see Miss Michelle right now being gangster boo, and tapping a young lady like, "Excuse me, we can't see."
All of that ain't the spirit. You ain't all caught up in the spirit like that. Set your ass.
And you gotta set out.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna be seeing where he in all service.
Jermaine ain't hit nothing but the first stroke of the key, and they hop up. Like
it was more like, they on their feet already.
Dude, really, you call it with this morning.
You know he's silly, because you know he's silly.
It's foolishness all day long. Y'all have a great one and keep the Lord with you.
Thank you.
You ain't raising no offering, man. You ain't raising no offering.
Good doctor. He's so ridiculous. Look, so some people hit me up like, guilty. I'm standing.
Yeah.
Y'all looking at the back of my behind because I'm standing. Yeah. So, I mean, but
Michelle, where did this come from?
Again, it's a long, winding road how we got there, because people tease me because I talk about not going to church on a regular basis. Right, so everybody think I'm like some kind of heathen that don't know church protocol, don't know none of the standard hymnals. I'm like, I know all of it. I was raised in the church. Please don't be fooled by the crazy stuff that I say on the radio. And then so one thing led to another, and we landed here. And I was just saying, I had this moment in DC when it was like, why do people do that? Because in no other arena, like, it's just, again, and the spirit didn't overtake you immediately. Now, I mean, I ain't trying to tell you what your relationship is with God, but some of y'all just pop up because that's your jam. Okay,
that's my song.
That's your song. But why do you think it's fair for you to stand up through the whole song and the people behind you got to look at your back all day? They can't see the choir. They can't see their husband who's singing, their wife who in the choir, their little grandchild. They can't see none of that because you choose to stand up through the whole song and like the song was just being sung just for you. So Anyway, the church ladies was blazing me yesterday, and I had like wounds and band-aids on because they was clouding me yesterday. And but I told them I was gonna say it. I was like, I don't care. I don't think I'm wrong.
You're not wrong, but certainly when the spirit
here we go. But certainly when the spirit hits
you
the spirit didn't hit you. This literally, I wish I could play like a keyboard sound. All you get is that, just like Jermaine said, that's all you get. And then they hop up. I'm like, y'all, come on, y'all.
Because they know what's getting ready to happen. The spirit done already told.
That wasn't the spirit. That was just you. And this is my jam. And all I'm saying is, if you do that, at least look over your shoulder behind the people and be like, you okay? Because some people won't care. They like, Michelle silly. This church leading people along, let them praise.
The spirit don't allow you to do that. It don't allow you to say, excuse me, I'm getting ready to get my praise on. Are you okay?
I mean, that's why I tell you, all of that ain't spirit.
That don't happen.
Y'all can go on with that. All of that's not spirit. So I'm just saying, we got some elderly people sitting behind y'all, differently able people, folks who don't work all week. I came to get my service. I'm not trying to stand up through the whole song, but I still want to see the choir. I still want to praise.
If you didn't come to get your praise on, don't sit on this row. Don't sit behind me, because I'm gonna be up, I'm gonna be down, I'm gonna roll a little bit, clap my hands, stomp my feet.
But that ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
A bunch of things.
That ain't got nothing to do with me.
As I'm so led.
But
if you didn't come for that,
lead to the
they should have a section for people that just want to sit down.
You know what? Now you on to something. Churches, listen to Debo.
Yeah, they should have.
We need to have a section.
Just want to sit down
where there will be no standing.
Ain't gonna let the spirit move me no kind of way.
And the spirit can move you, and you can leave the section and go to the other section.
No, you ain't gonna rely back, because you can't go back now. You're gonna come over here. You're gonna be over here.
I'm saying we need to have the church split up to the folks that just sit down.
Praise, medium praise. No praise here because I gotta be.
We need.
Mama done made me come.
We need sections. I like that idea.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be advancing that we have sections, because it'll cut down on a lot of angst.
You like to stand and show your booty?
Yeah.
Right here.
Right here. This your section.
Where we need you. Right here.
And finally the ushers will have something to do for real. So you'll be like
in that video we to my ushers we to my Doug with them bad feet.
Yeah.
Sit here. Cause I ain't going to no, you ain't gonna sit down now. Cause I'm not gonna walk you all the way down there.
I'm not walking all
you
the way
gonna sit right here.
You be like,
on the last row.
I have actually did that with ushers. Be like, do you have something a little closer towards the front?
Right there.
They'll point.
Say nothing,
you sit down right there. Like,
what I tell you?
Well, what? And then somebody be like, she'll like walking all the way down to the
her feet hurt.
Why are you an usher? Okay, I've had my church protocol. I gotta go to break. I'm sorry that I, spent 20 minutes
is it break
of y'all time.
I ain't got nothing ready. Just keep on talking. I ain't got nothing ready.
Talk about church protocol, but we could give the usher something to officially do, to be able to direct people.
Mm-hmm.
Shouter.
She's standing right now. She's already up. First note. That's my song.
And they get up and got their head all up and big old hats. And you just like, come on, man.
Something wrong with you, Michelle.
That's what they say.
You can't let the devil use you all the time. Let the Lord use you sometimes.
That's not the devil. I'm here for the service. I'm here for it.
Wow.
I ain't come to look at the back of your back all day. And then they do it on every song.
Oh, they don't have no special song.
It's on every song. I think it just because they got a bad outfit on that day and they want everybody to see it. And this is the thing I noticed. The bros don't do that.
You got some bros that do it.
A few, but not a lot.
Especially the ones that are in the choir.
But not a lot of bros do it.
Well, you know which ones I'm talking about.
That may be sisters doing it. A lot of bros don't just pop up.
They in the choir.
And stay up for the whole, but they be in the choir stand. You know what?
I hope there wasn't no camera, but
so I am so sorry People are like, y'all are ridiculous. Y'all are
Yeah, now I'll tell you who can sing this song.
Forget you, Chandra. One more person tell me I'm stupid. What?
Redmond. He sang this.
This song right here?
Oh yeah, he tied the church up.
Oh, this?
Tied the church up.
Really?
Yes, Lord.
Is this a local person?
Redmond from Pitts. Loveless Redmond.
The Slim brother?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah, I've heard him sing before.
So you don't know his history then?
No, I don't.
Yeah, Playboy Club.
Playboy Club.
And Lake Geneva and all of that. He was a professional live
performer.
Singer. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. So this is right in his lane. He can tie it up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not to put you out there like that, Redmond. I know you're listening, brother, but yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check it out there.
Very well known.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now that I think about it, a lot of bros don't do it. Bros, don't hop up and stand up to the whole time.
I'm gonna stop letting you lead me down this lane of foolishness.
I'm offended at the number of people that have called me stupid this morning.
It's too early in the morning, and I just be looking right along.
Somebody said, this is one of the reasons why I don't attend church. I was at this one church, and this one sister stood up in front of me, clapping and jumping around. Oh, I ain't gonna say that part. And I said,
was it that bad?
She's talking about it with some odors.
Oh.
And she said, you might want to sit down. She said while she was holding her nose, she told the sister, you might want to sit down. You silly. I'm not getting ready to listen to y'all.
You ready to take that break?
Yes.
That's right.
Because people are clearly offended by
your conversation tonight. They ain't offended. They resemble it. Some of them do.
All right, y'all. Let me take a break. We'll be right back.
But in the word of God, got an anchor, and it keeps me steadfast.
Got to talk about what has been going on by way of most of our southern neighbors in relationship to hurricanes. Whether we're talking about coming off the aftermath of Hurricane Helene or everything that people experienced as a result of Hurricane Milton on yesterday. Without fail, if you have family in those regions, I am hopeful that many of you are checking in on folks, making sure people are okay. You know, we were actually talking to Carvey. He was going down to Florida over this past weekend and making sure he was checking flight information to understand, you know, if I'm missing the storm, if I'm, you know, flying into, flying out, what's going on. Hopefully you will figure out if it's possible to reach loved ones, check on folks. This morning they had said that there were roughly about 3 million people without power as a result of Hurricane Milton. They've already attributed 4 deaths to this particular hurricane. I know in Helene, they're still doing the count. It's well over 100 individuals, though, many people still not accounted for yet. And I was watching some of the Weather Channel last night. I just wanted to see, you know, because I'm always enamored at the media personalities. You know, I'm not sure all these people are actually meteorologists or, you know, folks who actually got a degree understanding the weather and all of that. But for the sake of reporting this story, they go out and stand in these storms. And you know, you see the wind blowing and they like holding on to the light pole while they try to still do the interview, and you know, rain just smacking them all upside the head. But they're gonna give you this story and they're gonna try and get you as close to the action as possible. Yesterday, I was watching reporters that actually had to huddle in parking structures, and they couldn't even be on the streets because the wind was so bad. And the water was cresting in some cases 16 feet, you know, and you're like, wait, what's going on right now? So Milton, what's going on? Oh, they got, that's the stadium. Yeah, I looked at them showing the debris from the stadium in Tampa Bay or in Tampa, Florida. And it like took the top off that joker. And the reporter that was talking about it, he was like, it came off like paper. Like whatever you think about the structure of a roof on top of a stadium. Because I don't think, was theirs retractable? The way, I can't tell if theirs.
It is now.
Great comedic timing. Great comedic timing. That's where they play baseball. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if they had a retractable stadium or not. In Florida, I would imagine you would, just because of the weather.
Right.
More good days and bad. But yeah, it ripped the roof completely off. And they were showing like this like 40-foot some odd crane. I don't know why people didn't think to like lower this. I don't know what it takes to lower, but this crane fell and it fell into a complex.
Wow.
And they had it on video when it fell. People were still in the water when they were telling people to evacuate. You always got people. And I'm like, you put other people in harm's way when you choose to be silly.
Because now they got to try to figure out how to save your
and you know, and they start, the mayors of these respective towns start letting people know, when we get to this moment, you on your own.
Yeah.
If you
I remember, I think it was last year that one mayor of police, he was like, don't call us because we ain't coming.
I mean, number one, you putting these officers, first responders, everybody in harm's way trying to save you. But these people got their own families. Mm-hmm. You know, so while we done took care of the city, they got to take care of their own situation. So they told them, don't do it. They talked about that it was, you know, set at a Category 3 hurricane, 120 mile per hour sustained winds. That's constant.
Yeah.
Sustained. I mean, it's not letting up. You're not getting no break from it amid a flurry of tornadoes that it spawned. And so everything from over near Cape Canaveral, in which they were talking about the winds there was 85 miles an hour. This was going on for hours, 4 hours yesterday. What you looking
him out
at?
the window.
What's he doing?
They're dragging him out because he.
Oh, somebody that had stayed in the home.
Yeah. They put that gallon of milk up. Don't nobody care about that milk.
You trying to take
Groceries.
Well, the one thing I ended up appreciating though, and a number of people had alluded to it, they were telling folks we have 16 shelters set up in certain areas. Like in Fort Myers, they only had one, but it was a huge one.
One of them was a stadium.
Yeah, we need people to come. And there were folks who were like, I thought about Hurricane Katrina. Depending on where they were, I don't have gas money to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting to get paid on Friday. People who were saying, if you can get inland, get a hotel room. There were people who was like, I can't afford a hotel room.
I know they were saying yesterday that 16 different gas stations were out of gas.
They were bringing gas in, trying to meet the demand and the need.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a young brother who was driving one of the trucks. He was like, this crazy. I mean, literally in the whole midst of this interview, all he could say was, this crazy. We got real issues going on here. I don't think people appreciate how severe it is. People had boarded up their homes with the plywood. The wind threw all of that off. It was like they had never done anything.
Mm-hmm.
So just getting people to understand that is going to be weeks, months before these people are, somewhat close to being okay. We don't know how long it'll take to get power infrastructure back up.
I know you were speaking to, and I recall you speaking to, putting some efforts together to try and see if we could assist. I certainly would be.
It's underway. And I got to just get to Vaughn. I saw he sent me a message, but everything else has been crashing down. But no, there are people already mobilizing, trying to figure out what we can do. I'll connect my goals.
I want to add to, just because you never know. You never know. And I know we typically don't see those kinds of storms come through here, but you don't know.
I mean, some work that I'm doing on a national level with the NAACP. So I am working with people from 12 battleground states around the country as civic engagement directors for that state. And one of the sisters out of, I think she was out of Florida, because we got regular meetings and we doing all this stuff. She's not able to check in. So finally, somebody was able to connect to her in some kind of way. And she was like, look, we don't have no power.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely don't have no internet. All of the stuff that I would have been doing as in my role with the NAACP right now, all that's on hold because my house has gotten damaged and torn up.
Trying to live.
Right. And, so people, I appreciated it. One of the young sisters that's connected, she just sent out a thing saying, look, y'all, if anybody can donate and help, send this sister something. Whether it's a care package, because they could still get, but send her something. So, all of us like Cash App some money down there. I tried to be, extremely generous because like you said, you just don't understand. And then in between when your next payday falls, so many people do live check to check.
Absolutely.
And so when people have said, will you help? But overwhelmingly, I always say that about particularly this community, our listeners, when we put the call out, people show up. I go all the way back to COVID and that Christmas toy drive, which I need to just, because we just sitting around talking and it's kids not getting ready to have nothing for Christmas because their parents not working and 5 friends.
You know what?
We start this.
There was a promotion that I thought was special that we as a community let go by the wayside, and if it still exists, I certainly would like to know. Janetta Robinson, she always did the kids that Santa forgot.
Right.
And that name alone, we should try to keep that going as a community. Let's figure out how we can make sure that no kid, if they're under the sound of our voice and we have any way of assisting and reaching them, that they know that they haven't been forgotten.
Well, I'm going to tell you, and I got to go back. I thought that the family had kept it going. I'm trying to look online to see if I see it. But I know that I had a number of people who were not necessarily the recipients, but people who donated, who after, because we were doing that as a one and done, we were at the peak of height of COVID. We knew people were struggling, and 5 of us started it, and then other people, came on board. But we had like we worked with some teachers in not Whitefish Bay, Shorewood. I'm trying to think of where these teachers were, but they had heard about what we were doing, and they had said, we've been looking for a way to do something. When I tell you these teachers came through with so much stuff, it was because they was like, these are our students, these are our kids. And even if they're not our specific children, we just know that children are being impacted. So I had adults and people that donated saying, are you going to do this again next year? And I was like, nah, I was really only doing it that one time. But now I've been talking, to Lakeisha, and I'm like, I might need to figure out a way to make this an annual event because the number of adults that wanted to do it.
Right.
We had made it simple. You either can buy from the list, and I literally work from the request of the children.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my proudest things, was that what those kids asked for, that's what those kids got.
Yeah, I heard you talk about it. I didn't get nothing I had on the list. I'm just saying,
I'm gonna always say I had 2 favorite moments, and then I'm gonna get back to the hurricane. But when I put that all call out for boys, and I came on the radio and I said, so I don't know what's happening, but we're getting more girl-oriented toys than we are for boys. And I said, I'm gonna need y'all to step up for these boys. Brothers, not necessarily sisters, brothers was falling through here with bags, Target bags, the big bags, full of stuff. I mean, every kind of robotic car, big wheel, hot wheel. I like, it got to the point I was like, I had to come back on the radio. Okay, bros, we good. We good. Like, you can hear brothers like forgetting about me, forgetting about us, and brothers showed
we've all been that kid. Now, maybe you haven't, because you was spoiled. But we've all been that kid that hoped that. And I know I was so bad. My mama would tell me, Santa ain't bringing you sugar honey iced tea. Santa, he better not stop by here.
Oh, now he better not stop by. Oh, your mama was rough.
Yeah, I talked to her yesterday, Michelle. I was telling her, I said, I don't know if the word got back to you, but I've been telling folks about your mama. She said, what you say?
What she say?
I said, I've been telling folks about your mama. She said, so folks know how my mama was. Yeah, I don't sugarcoat it. My grandmama was crazy. So I got a lot of that honest. But fun loving and just love to have a good time and love people, I got that honest too.
I mean, it just says something, and you're right. And I just got a text message that they are continuing.
The kids that Santa forgot.
The kids that Santa forgot.
Okay.
It may not be, I don't know if it's at the scale like, Miss Janetta did it, but the family is continuing that effort. But I will always, that moment will forever stay with me, the way this community showed up for these babies. When I say I got, and she listening, I got a case of black doll scent. A case. I want to be clear.
A case.
Like, I didn't even know they would deliver a case of dolls to your individual residence. This sister did a case of dolls.
Wow.
And it took all I had not to keep the doll that had the big afro, because I was like, I'm keeping this. Oh, and it was all Barbies. It was all black Barbies. But a case. And I had to go buy my own, because I'm like, I've never seen this Barbie with this big afro. Dark-skinned Barbie, beautiful. Oh, I'm getting that. We show up. So it's that same attitude and spirit that we have to think about what's going on with folks. So again, churches, sororities, D9 groups. If you got counterparts down in these other states to say, hey, can we do something? Can we send something? We got to think about these people. But another thing that we got to be honest about, how we get here. the fact that these weather incidences are worse than they used to be, and the role that climate change plays in that, the consistent warming of the earth, and that you have policymakers, and everybody said at the same time, one, two, three, Republicans, who refuse to accept that climate change is real, and not because they don't believe in the science, but because they don't want to do the regulatory stuff that's required of businesses not to put all this garbage in the air and in the water. It's not that they could honestly dispute the science, but they will, so that they can skirt around the fact that you have companies that are directly positioning us to have these worse weather incidences because of the way they do business, because of fossil fuels, because of all the different things that contribute to the earth's warming. And these are policy decisions. These are policy decisions. So on one hand, it's frustrating to see some of these Republican governors standing there talking about what we need, when the very policies that you're exacting in your legislatures are helping to create the dynamics to give us these situations. And then you got crazy Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about Democrats did something to manufacture the weather. There is no button or a switch that you flip to manufacture the weather. But what you can do, of years and years, decades and decades of ignoring how the way we do business as people on this earth are impacting the earth. The emissions that every car sitting outside this window spews into the earth, into the atmosphere when they moving around. The idea that we don't want to appreciate that sea surfaces are boiling, and you see vegetation underneath the ocean turning stark white, being bleached out because it's too hot. The water is too hot. But we don't want to. We don't want to. So, there's like a messed up part of me that's like, you know what? Again, you as a state don't buy into climate change. You don't want to believe that this stuff is real. You don't want to take necessary measures with the organizations and companies that do business in your state and help us with this national messaging around what we need to do. Don't be calling me for no money. Don't call me for none. Because you get to do both. You get to talk out both sides of your neck. We don't want Obamacare, but your residence is using the Affordable Care Act to have health insurance. Joe Biden is the worst thing ever, but we taking the infrastructure dollars that didn't get done under another administration. And we're back in the district bragging about we got these new road projects happening, but you didn't vote for it. That's the thing that's frustrating to me as you watch a lot of this play out. You got people who sit up and talk BS about these issues every day. Take actual votes against policies that will help us, and then be the first ones in line when you need help and services. And then, of course, we can't give credit to the people who took the responsible vote to make sure we had what we needed. One of the things that we have to do as a community is educate ourselves on the impact of all the things that we do environmentally and what that looks like. We talk about the whole issue of environmental justice in communities of color, Black communities specifically. Frequently, there are groups that are paying attention to this now in ways that we haven't seen before. That whole piece about U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin working to bring trees into the community to be able to offset some of the damage that we're doing environmentally because we don't have these things. This work is real. This work is absolutely real. And we cannot continue to have people pretend that climate change is not a driver of what we're seeing, both inland and these coastal communities of what we're seeing. It absolutely is. But the unwillingness to say that these things are happening. And then you pile on top of that what's going on with Donald Trump and Republican enablers who are out telling people that FEMA is not trying to help them. And people are not calling for services because they're not going to help us anyway. Trump said, so-and-so said, they're not doing anything. We'll just figure it out on our own. And people are dying. Why would you lie about hurricane emergency care and assistance being provided strictly for political gain? Again, putting other people in harm's way so I can get what I want. Completely and utterly selfish and irresponsible that you would have somebody who wants to be the president of the United States actually lie, outright lie about the services being provided on the ground because you trying to win a political election. And you got irresponsible Republican legislators and allies carrying water on this. But at the end of the day, you actually are hurting your own constituencies, your own voter bases. Like one of the conversations we were just having, some of these people have already started voting. There's no place for them to go vote. We are walking up now, less than 4 weeks away from a presidential election. The level of devastation that has happened in these states because of these two weather systems, there are folks that don't know where they're going to vote now. And voting is actually the last thing probably on your mind. So you got groups that are scrambling, trying to figure out. I mean, just think about it. During COVID in Milwaukee, we go from 180 polling locations to 5. But we still had all of our resources in place. Our infrastructure was in place. What do we do when your infrastructure is torn up? And the people who would come work those polls, their houses is flooded and torn up. And they somewhere in a shelter. But we're voting. Like nobody even thinks about some of the ancillary things that are impacted. We're voting right now for the presidency. Some of these states are key states. So the concern and the fear in the space where people are doing this work is, how many voters are we getting ready to lose? Which means that the other states are going to have to shoulder some more responsibility, do some heavier lifting, get more people out to compensate for who we getting ready to lose in the states that's been impacted by these hurricanes. Because I promise you, as civically engaged as I am not thinking about voting right now. As I can't get back to my house, as I'm staying in the shelter. I don't have nowhere to go. I'm a paycheck to paycheck person. You think I'm thinking about voting? But there are groups, and I'm a part of these conversations where folks are like, yes, we getting ready to lose hundreds of thousands of people potentially. What if their power went out and this hurricane hit on November 5th? You couldn't even go to cast a ballot. They say, oh, we'll move the paper. But it's unsafe. You can't even come to the locations. The other reason why early voting is a real thing. And y'all get them absentee ballots and turn them back in right away. Some folks are checking in. Somebody said, good morning. Do you think this hurricane will double back a hit and hit the USA again? At this point, any of this is possible because of the way our weather systems are working right now. Somebody else said, will the funds get to her? I watched the hurricane on MSNBC by the time I got home, and I couldn't sleep because you're looking at everything that people are going through. And for some folks, this was traumatizing because you went back to Hurricane Katrina. And there are Black folks that were sitting there watching, folks like, this is the worst system I've ever seen. And the response and blah, blah, blah. And these Black folks shaking their head. Like, well, when you show me some people who have gotten up on the roof of their house to get away from the water, let's have a conversation. I don't want to do tit for tat comparisons, but understand this. We got real issues on our hands, and we can't have irresponsible people at the top of these tickets lying about what services are being provided. Kamala Harris was very strong in her rebuttal to what Donald Trump was saying, and his allies and supporters, like, stop lying to these people, because services are available for them. Money is there for them. Stop it. And you realize it's, caller, here I come. It's being done for purely selfish reasons. You don't give a damn about helping these people. You're trying to help your reelection. So you out here willing to say anything. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hi, I just wanted to share 3 areas of food for thought. Number 1, man has been trying to control the weather by dropping chemicals for their personal, whatever reason it is. 2, in order to be able to fly and drop these chemicals, they had to have government permission in order to approve the route, so there's no interconnection with regular airlines. And the third one is individuals can be members of any party. Because remember, it takes individuals, not a party, but an individual. And you can join all the parties for whatever reason, whether you want to be able to have a statement or whether you want to be able to destroy or help. I just wanted to remember that we have a lot of interference with individuals trying to control, and there's a faction in our government that wants to destroy this country. But you'll never know who they are because they're underneath. They just pay others to do all their dirty work. So I just want to share that with you because sometimes we forget there are people who are very dastardly in what they want to do to control this country and take it away because of their racist mentality, their bigotry, and money and greed. So if you want to ask any questions, I'll share whatever thought process I have because I've been kind of keeping an eye when I look in the skies and see how they're doing it. And they can now get in with technology, pinpoint areas. But Mother Nature, they keep forgetting, controls the whole thing. And when, like dominoes, when you want to go this way, it might accidentally do something another way. And that's why I think personally, what's happening in all this weather thing that's happening. But the key is who's doing it.
Okay. Nope. I got you. And I'll speak to some of the comments that you made. And thank you for adding that to the conversation. So there will be people that have, heard what the caller just said and will start laughing right away, chuckling right away. Like, don't be ridiculous. Man cannot control the weather. Man, who's trying to control the weather? Like, it's a silly notion. It's a silly idea. Well, there are some clear studies and research that has been done about what people can do to mitigate certain circumstances with the weather. You have seen it most often done around rain and snow, but there is something called cloud seeding, SEEDING, cloud seeding. And these are programs that have happened worldwide here in the United States. And when I think of, specific states, Cali, Nevada, New Mexico, Wyoming, Kansas, Texas, North Dakota, Oklahoma, callers, I see y'all. And it is when we talk about cloud seeding, which is a well-researched monitored form of small-scale weather modification, because that's a term that's used when people talk about, is there a way we can deal with the weather? We can change weather patterns. Is there something we can put in the atmosphere that redirects a storm? Weather modification. And there are tons of examples of how people have tried to figure out if there's stuff that they can do. Everything from deforestation, because patterns will shift. When they talk about like how a tornado will hit in wide open spaces versus heavily populated, heavily forested areas, like how these things land, what they're attracted to. So there definitely are folks that have been doing work to try to figure out if there are things that they can introduce into the environment that changes weather patterns. Caller, if you can, hang on with me through the break. But I just needed to say, because like I said, I know there would be people when the caller was talking that would say she's crazy. There's tons of research out there that people have tried to figure this out. I'll be right back. All right, family, welcome back to the show. So, a couple people inboxed me on Facebook and they said, Michelle, could you repeat? I mean, what I say, Facebook? Oh, my bad. Inbox me on Facebook. Sorry. I said, could you repeat what you said? What is this phrase about folks trying to control the weather? Or the research that was being done. And I mentioned just one aspect of it, something known as cloud seeding. And somebody else hit me up and said cloud seeding was used by the military. Yes, it was. Debo, I see you shaking your head. Most notably during Vietnam. Uh, and so folks need to understand the U.S. Air Force used cloud seeding from 1967 to 1972 to extend the monsoon season in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. The goal was to disrupt North Vietnamese military supplies by making roads slippery and causing landslides. So they used a chemical agent to create an acidic rainfall. Can anybody say what it is? Agent or huh? Acidic. Yep, acidic rainfall that would damage North Vietnamese radar equipment. My dad talked about being in Vietnam and some of the brothers that came back from Vietnam that had Agent Orange exposure. This was a herbicide that the military used during Vietnam to destroy the crops of the Vietnamese people. So, there have been things that have been done to alter a atmosphere of a community. And so again, I had a couple people that were like kind of scoffing when the caller was talking and sending me stuff behind the scenes. And I'm like, there is some element of her comments that you ought to pay attention to. Everything is not a conspiracy theory. Some of this stuff actually was done. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I know you're busy, but I was wondering if you could find out something about this lead poisoning. I know Biden has given us some money. Now, next door to me, they're putting in some pipes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I called the water department to see what was going on. And she's telling me that I wasn't on some kind of priority list to get the pipes installed free.
What year was your house built?
25.
1920. Your house was built in 1925?
Yes.
Yeah, 1925. So one of the things that did you talk to your alderperson at all?
Not yet. The water department was supposed to get back to me, but she did call back and the phone rang 2 times and I answered and they hung up.
Okay. Yes. Number one, I would start with what's going on. Trying to find out from the alderperson what work is being done in that area, and then having the alderperson help work with you to figure out what exactly is happening with these line replacements. How did they get initiated? Because in some cases, residents were already starting to work on their own. Or landlords, property owners had started to work on their own. In other cases, the city, coming in as a result of these dollars that have been dropped in and doing more work. But the first thing we got to figure out is who's doing the work and what what that work is. So I would start with my alderperson and ask them for.
You can't ever talk to your alderperson.
Who was your alderperson?
Malay Cogs, and next door to me, the person has been deceased over 10 years, and they're doing that yard. That's what's crazy. They're doing a yard next to me that nobody lived in there over 10 years, and they're doing across the street.
So
I'm 85 years old. I have no money to pay for anything. I barely living,
Well, you know what? So let me do a couple of things. So number one, somebody said that they had gotten information that priority houses were considered those that were used for daycare centers, houses that had small children in them, because they were the ones that were most likely to be immediately impacted by lead poisoning. They were more susceptible to the damage. Older people fared better in terms of the immediate effects that you could see in a child poisoning a child's system. But let's do this.
That you know what?
Uh,
That can't be true. There's no children living across the street. They visit the grandparents like mine visit me. They
got
spend the
you.
night sometime.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me start this way. I'm gonna have if it's okay, I'm gonna have you give your phone number to my producer, and then I will call you. But I'll also call your alder person to see if we can get answers to what the work is, and if it is work that's initiated by the city, how people were selected, so that you can get some information. And I'll reach out to Alderwoman Coggs's office for you today. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much.
Hang on one second. Debo
Sure.
is going to get your information. All right, family. Let me get the next caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Michelle, Debo, and Carvey. That was so excellent what you just did. And that's why your station is so critical to our communities. Because older people do need to get this information. And I'm telling you, I don't know if that was Mother Rose that called in before that had those comments, but I love listening to people. Because sometimes when you shut your mouth and listen, you do learn something. But I did hear a commercial this morning that was talking about this election. And the guy said, you don't have to beat yourself up or get puzzled all over everything. Just think of this. Vote for the person that you're not looking, that you don't have to worry about overturning the government.
Mm.
And then the next thing, look at the things that you have heard that you know that they're going to be changing. Look at your older parents and people that have worked hard that are on Social Security and they want to come in and mess with those things. And then look at what the Republicans are doing. They want you to work until age 72. It's easy when you sit in an office and you sit down and dictate that a person working in a factory or doing hard work, UPS, delivering packages that they have to use muscle plus brain to age 72. Let's be realistic. Vote for somebody that's going to make a difference in your life. Stop with the hatred, because I'm going to tell you something. When you do something trying to hurt me, we're on the same ship. And all of us, regardless of our ethnicity, have a piece of the puzzle. God didn't just equip one race with intelligence. And then look at what Donald Trump is promoting. Anyone that has melanin in their skin obviously have some mental defect, meaning we're not intelligent. And and for the life of me, one of these times I'm going to get an opportunity. I don't know who Meech is, but he just jumps on any bandwagon. If somebody come up to you and ask you, are you a Christian? I'm going to look around and say, is there a camera somewhere? Is he the FBI, the CIA? I said, I'm not up to answering any questions today. Good day. And I've gone about my business. Who are you? If you can't tell by my walk and what I think and how I carry myself who I am, then I don't need you barking at me, telling me what I should do and how I think. And ask me this. When was the last time he was invited down to Mar-a-Lago? And what part of the food chain is he on when the Republicans? Is he in the room with most of the Caucasians that are getting together, or the whites? Or is he in the room with all the black ones? Now, y'all come up with something and then disperse into the communities and tell these people what to think and do. Stop it. It's going to affect you. And when they get finished using you, guess what they're going to do? Throw you away. Because I wouldn't use anyone that could turn on their own family and hurt their own people. Because now remember, slavery started, some of the African tribes over there did turn in the smart ones and had them enslaved, okay? So we're good at that. So when you have your meetings and your brainstorming, have a small nucleus. Don't just invite anybody and everybody in to spoil your plan. And get out there and vote. And I'm going to tell you something. If you think our 7-year-olds to 12-year-olds are not thinking about what's going on and what's affecting us, think again, because I did go with the Claiborne Benson's history of voting. It was very interesting. The panel was interesting. And the young people that were there had interesting questions. This kid couldn't have been older than 10, wanted to know what did racism had to do with housing. And the other young lady wanted to know what effect is this election to us older people? How is it affecting us? Because they see the effects that it's having on their parents, grandparents. So let's not wash over what anybody is thinking, and let's get serious. You can't sit this one out. It's too serious. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you, caller. I appreciate the call. It was a couple of things that she said that I wanted to reference. I will work that into the conversation. And Alex, I know you're listening. Alex asked me, had I heard of the HARP project? And I was unfamiliar with it. I looked that up while while the caller was speaking. And this is a program, it looks like it goes back to 1993. But HARP, HAARP, stands for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. And it is the world's most capable high power, high frequency transmitter for the study of ionosphere. And so it literally is doing research at an elevation that is so crazy. You would just like wonder like how some of this is even happening. But I am going to learn more about the project. It's a collaboration between the United States Air Force, the University of Alaska, and it's a third entity at the table. But again, people are looking at how can we alter certain things and impact the environment. Okay. Let's go to the other caller. Hey, caller, what's happening? Jesus.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I was just trying to, me and my buddy was just sitting here on the line waiting.
I thought you was about to say you and your wife. Go ahead.
We was just trying to find out.
You got us on speaker.
Yeah,
Do why we do this every time?
listen, because listen, anyway, I was just trying to find that program that was mentioned for you to give you the direction to go to. Let me explain
Which
something to
one?
you.
Which program?
Johnson,
Huh?
President Johnson, before he was president, he made some statements. And the statement was, whoever can control the weather will control the world. Now, this was in the late 50s, early 60s that he said. This might have been 59 or 60. And that meant something. And that stuck in the mind of me and others that was in class listening to this stuff. This man said that way back in the 60s, way back in the late 50s. Whoever controls the weather will control the world. So let me explain something to you. That Hopper program, it's a true thing. There's a lot of conspiracy theory behind it, but it is. Now the older sister, I don't know, she might not even be elderly. She might sound that way. She called in and she attacked me. And I don't know why people do that, attack me, because I could start. She was talking about Benson Claiborne or Claiborne Benson. You know what? I could get on this radio every day and tear down people that we call prominent in this community, and it would make sense, and it would be factual. But I don't do things like that. I mean, let's keep it real. I fight with people all the time. You never hear me discussing that, even out in public, because I'm true to what I do. So the thing is this here. You don't want nobody telling a woman's right to do right. Say woman's right to choose, right? But then give me my right to choose who I want to vote for. Get off these. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think that anybody.
Woman's right to choose. Then you fighting about that.
People don't begrudge you your right to choose who you want to vote for. At the end of the day, everybody understands that we all have the right to select the candidates, the parties, whatever it is of our choice. So it's not necessarily that.
So
one of the things about you, hang on. One of the things
ahead.
about you that riles the feathers of a lot of listeners, present company included, is the way you deliver information and the way you attack. You know, you can sit up
That's
here and play
right.
victim right
That's
now,
right.
but you come
No,
for
I'm not
people.
a victim. Never. You the one start calling me a victim.
No, because you're the one said why people
I'm
talking
pure
about me,
alpha.
why
Do you
people coming
understand? Hold
after
on.
me. So
No. Well, I'm not
you
being a
don't
victim. I know
mind,
how to fight
you
back.
don't mind throwing them,
Hold on.
but you don't like when
Hold on.
people throw them
I
back
don't
at you.
mind. Hold on.
You
And guess
don't
what? I get home
mind
a lot of days
swinging
with a
on
bloody nose.
folks, but when folks swing back at you, then you start crying. That's
No,
the
I'm not
problem,
crying.
Meech. You
Hold
doing
on.
it
Why
right
you say
now.
you fight
You
right now?
cry
Listen,
all the time.
watch
That's
this. Listen
why
to
y'all
this.
picking on
I'm
me.
crying.
Why y'all coming
I'm
for
crying.
me? Why y'all?
No, I didn't
I
say
mean, but
y'all coming for me.
you could say whatever you want to.
Man, what
You
you
call
think it
people
is,
out
man?
their name. You can be vulgar in your comments. You can do all of that. But the minute somebody shoot back at you, then you start hollering. It don't work that way, bro.
I'm not hollering.
The
sister.
minute you open your mouth and
But
get
you
on
gotta
this
pick out
radio,
how one.
you
Okay,
become
can I say
fair
this
game.
before you get mad and cut me off?
I ain't gonna get mad.
Okay, well, let me say this to you. Do you ever hear me directly pinpoint? Maybe I mess with Al sometimes.
Maybe.
Bible bashing.
Maybe.
No, I do that because he be Bible bashing. But do you ever hear me directly call anybody or attack anybody? No, because that's not me. That's not my character. So when I heard the lady bringing my name directly, okay, fine. If you got a woman's right to choose, then I should have a right
We
to
not.
choose. If a woman got five abortions, and I keep saying,
this is the point. Rights don't stop and start with the right to choose and who you pick for a candidate. Rights are across the board. So if you got a right to call in here and express your opinion, people got a right to call in and express an opinion about
and
you.
that's okay. I didn't get.
They can express an opinion about you, Meech.
Hold on. I was just simply defending myself when she said I jump on the bandwagon.
Okay, but I'm going to tell you this. You need to understand this. The minute you put yourself out here publicly, you open the door for comments. You open the door for criticism.
And I got okay, and they open the door up for me to comment back on what they comment was.
Well, go ahead then. But you can't whine and cry that they talking about me.
Keep on trying to put me in the whining and the crying.
Because that's what you be doing, bro. That's what you be doing.
No, sister, I don't whine and
that's
cry.
what you do.
You want me to whine and cry.
No, that's what you do. Why y'all always picking on me? Why y'all always coming for me?
I don't even use the word.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I can go back and play the tape. I can play the tape. I can play the tape. I can play the tape. I've memorized it. I can play the tape.
I would like to hear the tape.
Not a problem. We'll get one queued up for you.
Maybe you'll play it when you invite me in. But anyway, check this out.
See. Oh my God.
You want me to be the crybaby. You
are a crybaby. I don't care about you being one. You are a crybaby. A big one. You are.
You love to fight with me, Michelle.
I don't like fighting with you. You get on my nerves. I don't like fighting with you. I would love to have a conversation that does not escalate to this.
No, it's not about.
You don't know how to act.
Have a conversation. You love me.
What?
You love me. You are in love with me.
Oh my God.
You are in love with me.
Well, really? And you base that on what?
Now you're trying to get hung up on.
Someday you might get fortunate enough to have a gentleman like me in your life.
Meech, you know what? If you know what? It becomes more and more clear every day why you ride with Donald Trump. Because you a narcissist just like him. In love with you for what? Boy, stop playing on this radio. Stop playing on this radio. Stop playing on this radio.
But I have
you in love with me.
It's only 6 people in the
Boy, get off my radio. I gotta now you got to get hung up on because you a whole fool. Somebody say, you in love with me.
See, that bothers you, don't it? That bothers you, don't it?
You stupid. Oh my God. See, that's what you always resort to when you can't win an argument. You always resort to foolishness when you can't win an argument. Meech,
you really love.
Meech, get off my phone, boy.
That's what I'm talking about. You in love. You don't even.
I know. And you know what you're doing too. And you know what this moment is. This is classic Meech because you always reduce. Yes, it is because you always reduce women to being these emotional creatures who can't just be making a point. It's shrouded in your feelings and your emotions. And you're in love with me. That's why you argue with me. Boy, You better stop playing with
Not
me.
to be a boy. Look at the disrespect.
Oh, is it disrespect? Is it disrespect?
In love,
You know what?
express their
Beach,
feelings no other kind of
what
way.
are you
But that
talking about? You
individual-
sound like a pipehead right now.
No,
Like, what are you doing? You so stupid. Oh my God.
No, you don't went from, you don't went to.
Because you sound crazy, fam. Look, your calls are always entertaining. They are. They're good for ratings, but I'm going to have to let you go because you crazy. Hang up on him. Just, it's too much. I mean, he lose arguments all the time. And so his pivot is crazy Donald Trump pivot. You losing the debate against Kamala Harris. They're eating the dogs and the cats. They're doing this. Like, you say nonsensical stuff because you be losing, fam. We start at the same point every time. Facts. And while I don't want to sound like I'm blowing my own horn, beep, beep, I kill you on facts all the time.
You're dead.
Every time I kill you, Beach, on facts. And so when you can't win an argument, you pivot to foolishness. And that's how we get all this crazy back and forth. You literally, and I know you playing, I know it's something wrong with you, and you like attention. You go turn the conversation to, you love me. You're in love with me. You sound so crazy. And then you wonder why you got called a pipehead. Like, you sound so crazy. We go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning.
Well, good morning, Dr. Ward. How are you today?
I find this occasion an opportunity to share some would-be knowledge to you and your last caller. He hurt my feelings when he said what he said to you. And I want to know who operates that office on North Avenue in MLK. And when you call somebody, you told somebody they were crying. I've been a teacher for 60 years or more. And I always tell my students, stop crying and start trying. And they'll tell me, they told me, I ain't crying. You don't see no tears in my eyes. Crying is not tears. Crying is whining, complaining, making excuses, and blaming everybody but yourself. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
And when you gave that lady the information this morning about how to find out about the lead pipes, there needs to be a place where people can get that kind of information and get that stuff handled for people who are not so apt to be able to do stuff online and on. And nobody answering the phone nowadays. You know they don't.
Yes, sir. I do know.
You can call anywhere. Somebody told me yesterday that everything was fine with my getting a rental assistance check. And I said, how is it fine? And I don't have my money. And said, you can call down there. I called down there. It was on permanent hold for 100 years. So I had to go in person. I got it settled. But you have a good day.
Yes,
and like
sir.
I said, we need to have a class to anybody that wants it so they can learn some things. Because when we talk about money, the biggest problem we have with money right now is interest rates and finance charges. Most of the big businesses make their money more on finance charges than they do on the items that they sell. And the stock market is all shuffling papers, no product. And y'all have a good one.
Yes, sir. Appreciate the comments. Let me take a second caller. I'm coming. But a few callers back. One of the female callers, she had said a number of things. She had talked about what Donald Trump had said regarding um, basically white superiority in relationship to genetics. So a couple of people were like, Michelle, like, what was that conversation? I missed that. I'll bring you up to speed on that real quick. But even on the caller before that, who talked about the potential lead lateral work that's being done by her home, I got a text message that said even homes with daycares, the landlords can choose to opt out of the lead lateral replacements, and many are because they don't want to pay. So, even when we start talking about priority homes, if you are living in a home that you do not own, you are a renter, and that property owner has the ability to say, yay or nay, I'm going to pay for my portion of this lead lateral removal, you can still be messed up. And so thank you for that, for clarifying and pointing that out, because I actually was aware that, ultimately at the end of the day, if you are a renter, you are still dependent upon the homeowner or the property owner, property management, whatever they are, to make those decisions about what happens directly on the property in relationship to lead laterals. Let me go to the phone line real quick, and then I'll bring in this piece about the genetics. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning, Miss Bryant.
Good morning.
This comment goes back a couple of days back.
Okay.
Because you have an avenue that I love so greatly, and when you touched on the thing, you said some things that people like myself is not able to reach out and say, and that was in reference to this gentleman, Mr. Mandela Barnes, because you had the avenue to speak exactly what needs to be said. You are absolutely 1,000% right. And I want to just thank you personally myself.
Well,
because every word you said, I wanted to say.
Well, thank you. I don't hear that often. So.
Yeah, but I did not have the resources to say that. But you do have the resources to reach a ton of people out here. And I really have to applaud you about it. And I just want to thank you so much.
Well, thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate it. And thank you. I'll just say thank you. All right. And I keep having these conversations, y'all. And there are folks in state and out of state who come for me all the time, regarding this whole thing. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. But to the point that people have been making this morning, I see this very differently. And, I have a lens by which to look through that some people may not be afforded the opportunity to do, not just surface stuff, but practical things as well. As we are making decisions about any leader, about any elected official, we have got to get past being bamboozled and look at substance. People will give you just, a simple 3-point highlight of I'm gonna do this, this, and this, just like I said, my frustration in the Senate race, 4th Senate district race, when you get mailers from a candidate, basically talking about you about to be safe because I'm gonna be the senator. And I'm just sitting here like, could you stop lying to these people? They not about to be no safer because you the senator. Because it's still 132 people in that building that got to pass legislation. And you are in a Republican controlled building. If Tony Evers is not the stopgap on craziness, and if the Republicans mess around and get that supermajority to override a governor's veto, we all in trouble. But putting out this nonsense of your safety, you scared, blah blah blah. You can talk about public safety and be responsible about it. These are some things that I can try to do, but you ain't about to be, you ain't got your worries go away because I'm getting ready to be elected to the Senate. All that's BS. And to that point, I just love to say we went through all these damn special elections for that 4th Senate district seat, and that seat is still vacant right now. Representative Drake is still Representative Drake right now. There is no legislator in the 4th Senate district seat right now. After we have a special election and people are required to spend all that money, there is still no damn legislator in the 4th Senate district seat right now. people play games. After all of that, there is no senator in the 4th Senate District right now. So anyway, back to
So how's your love life? I'm just wondering, Shots fired.
I'm just saying. Silly stuff work my nerves. Like my mother said, you can tell you're getting older because your patience just run out with folks. And but
boy,
it is what it is.
I never would have thunk it.
That I was in love with me.
Yeah.
He never would have thunk it either.
You learn something every day. That's the school bell.
Oh, that's the education bell.
Yeah.
we catching what? Well, look, for the person who wanted to know about this genetic piece. Oh, Jesus Christ. Donald Trump. It's just, you get tired of having these conversations. Y'all think I'm playing. I get tired of having them because, a lot of times I'm talking to the choir. Many people, we on the same page. That's typically why you listen to certain people, you ride with them. And you don't agree on everything, but fundamentally we land pretty much in the same spot. And then you have people that you just try to figure out, like, do you not get the same information that everybody else gets? I mean, I know that Donald Trump and Kelly, what's her face, coined the term alternative facts. Like, that's a real thing. It's not. If it falls outside of the realm of a fact, it's actually a lie. There are no such thing as alternative facts. Facts are concrete. They're definitive. It either is or it ain't. It is or it isn't. If you step outside of the facts, now you have, subjective beliefs. You have other things that are driving you. They're lies. There is no such thing as alternative, Kellyanne Conway. There is no such thing as alternative facts. Those are called lies. Okay. So Donald Trump, for all of these people of color, he keep trying to tell you that this dude is fair and he don't have no problem with people of color and y'all okay being black and brown and supporting him because the policies, I'm going to be a lot better off because of his policies. And he didn't put anyone in jail like Kamala Harris did. But Donald Trump was recently arguing and talking about the fact that he believes that immigrants, people on the border that are coming that way, are biologically defective, that they have genes that make them susceptible to being bad people, that genetically they're deficient of values and morals, and it's easier for them to become criminals because genetically, he said that immigrants have, quote, bad genes. There's been all kinds of white supremacy nonsense written forever about genetic arguments and genetic predispositions to be criminals. They frequently said that about Black people, that we have a genetic predisposition to do bad things, to be morally bankrupt, to be promiscuous, sexually active, that it's in our DNA. We can't, in some ways, help it because we are an inferior class of people. But this is not new. What he recently said about immigrants at the border being, having bad genes. This is not new. In 1987, Donald Trump, let me see what I did with it because I want to find it. I think it was right here. In 1987, in the book, The Art of the Deal, which is just Donald Trump had a comment in that book that said, and I quote, that deal making ability is determined, quote, in the genes. And he credited his success to having good genes. And people who had not been highly successful in terms of money and acquisition of power and property and real estate, that those people had bad genes. That's what he said. So this is not new that Donald Trump buys into the genetics argument about who is worthy, who is an intellectual superior, who is the better race of person, because he is someone that has over the years floated this mess before. That he literally believes that he was born with good genes. And that's why he's successful. Now, I don't know what genes have to do with your granddaddy running moonshine and selling liquor when it was illegal during Prohibition. Because that don't have nothing to do with genes. And he made a boatload of money doing that. And I don't know what genes have to do with your daddy running a prostitution ring. I don't know what genes have to do with that. Because his daddy made money off of abusing and selling women. And then he flipped that money and got it into real estate. That don't have nothing to do with genes. And even so, that when he elevates himself to be among the high society of New York and, the country, there are people in those circles who shunned him because they was like, first of all, the way your family got their money, even though a lot of them, their family got their money suspect too, built off slavery, institutions of, taking advantage of people. But, it was more highbrow because we had enslaved people. We didn't bootleg. We didn't run prostitutes. He was shunned. He's always been an outsider. Like a lot of stuff that's going on with Donald Trump is because he's angry because he didn't have no friends. Not the friends he wanted. He had to run with we see it all the time. Like people will have a hierarchy of relationships and they'll tell you this the A team, this the B team, and this the C team. Or this the cool kids. These is the in between, and these is the kids don't nobody mess with. Donald Trump always wanted to run with the cool kids. The cool kids always shunned him and pushed him away because they was like, yeah, you and your grimy family background, not blue blood enough for us, not high society enough for us. You are someone who has come into money, but y'all are low-class people who just happen to be wealthy and you're not welcome. And I think he has taken that anger of not being accepted and just turned it out on the world and on everybody else. And so all of this bravado about, I'm the best and I do things better than anyone else. And, the world falls apart without me. It's all like actually just a mental game of a very little and rejected man trying to make himself feel better because you wasn't one of the cool kids. You wasn't in the in crowd. People didn't want to run with you. No matter how much money you brought to the table. You still didn't know what fork was the right fork to eat with. You still were crass and vulgar in your conversation. Your vocabulary is the size of a second grader. Intellectually, you are not on par with the folks in the in crowd. You're not on par intellectually with Barack Obama. You're not on par intellectually with Kamala Harris. You're not. So what does he do? He says that Kamala Harris was born basically with a mental deficiency. He says it out loud. She was born that way. Joe Biden became that way. Kamala was born that way. But all of this is projection. Everything that's insecure and small and weak and questionable about him, he projects that onto other people. So in fact, many of these negatives are his own. Him having the audacity to be out on the campaign trail and tell women, I am going to protect you. And he couches this in Roe v. Wade and in vitro fertilization, women's reproductive rights. And he literally says, I am going to protect you. But you've been accused of sexually assaulting 19 women that were willing to come forward. We don't know how many others are out there that didn't come forward. You see the game? You see the projection? You're a protector of women when in reality, you really are an abuser of women. You cheat on your pregnant wife. You've cheated on every woman you've ever been married to, and it's been 3 marriages. But other people receive your scorn and ridicule. But in fact, the things that you highlight are your own issues. You talk about limiting immigration and chain migration. Your wife is not from this country. Your mother-in-law and father-in-law were not from this country. They get their citizenship off the back of their daughter who marries you. And everything is fast tracked when you become president. J.D. Vance, look at his wife and their family. But you sit up here and you talk about immigrants like a dog, but both of y'all married to immigrants. Your in-laws, when you sit around the table, it's immigrants. Mar-a-Lago got immigrants working at Mar-a-Lago. We don't look at what people do. We just go by what they say. And that's the thing across the board that I keep trying to impart to our community. You got to look at what people do as well. There are people that are unwilling to tell the truth about what it is they see. That's all I'm asking you to do. Just tell the truth about what it is you see. Believe your eyes. They not lying. You see these people. So that's what the whole piece was about Trump and the genes. He is literally going back to the argument that if you are not white, and they couch it by saying American, but American is just a code word for white. If you are not white, you are mentally, morally inferior to white men. That's what he's saying. And he's been saying it. And with his daddy, them belonging to the KKK back in the day, it's not hard to understand where some of these ideologies come from. I got a caller. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello? Hello? Caller?
Michelle,
Yes.
I just got my ballots in the mail and I need to talk to you off the line.
Yes, ma'am. Leave your phone number and I'll call you when I get off the radio.
Okay.
All right, hang on a second. Debo's going to get your number.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. No problem. Somebody said that's all he talks about is locking people up. Isn't his wife an immigrant? Yes, she is. That's the same talk Hitler used. Michelle, you are preaching today. I mean, this stuff is not rocket science, though, y'all. We just got to be like, think about all of the chest beating and fist pounding immigrants, but you married to one. Somebody said Trump is the elite version of white trash. It ain't even elite. It's just trash. Like, your family lineage is one that most people in polite circles will be like, we don't mess with bootleggers and pimps. We don't do that. We don't. Now, I'm not saying our families are better. We just was colder and smoother about the way we did our dirt. Y'all's was just so common and out in the public for everybody to see. So for all of the good Black people in line to support Donald Trump, it's not that people begrudge you the right to support whoever you want to. It's just the contradictions in watching. You know, it's like seeing a Black person that was enslaved stand up and say, I'm a fight to save the life of the slave owner versus the enslaved person standing beside me. Like, that's the frustration. Is people are like, do you know who this dude is? And if you tell me you do, so you got somebody who believes that you are inferior because you are Black or because you are brown, and literally is willing to say it out loud, that your genes, genes, your genes make you less smart, less ethical, less moral. But this man has cheated everybody that has ever done business with him, just about. He stole basically money while he was the president of the United States. He overcharged the United States for the rooms that the Secret Service had to stay in at his properties. And he made sure, to the point of Clay Cane's book, to grift the United States people. Because remember, Donald Trump basically went to one of his properties every freaking weekend. Remember, he clowned Barack Obama? He plays golf too much. Donald Trump went to one of his golf properties damn near every weekend he was in office. And every time he went, the United States people had to pay because he charged us for the Secret Service to stay on his property. He could have went to Camp David for free. He could have charged us a regular different rate because they protecting you. He inflated the price of his rooms and passed that money on to the American people. So for all y'all Black folks that ride with Donald Trump, genetically, he thinks all of you are inferior to white men. It don't get no realer than that. I gotta go. Family, I appreciate y'all that called in today. Debo, Carvey, appreciate you, bros. I'll talk to y'all this afternoon.